Karen yelled at tourists for taking photos, then got fined for threatening behavior. The park was a kaleidoscope of color that crisp autumn morning, with golden sunlight spilling over the flower beds, where dahlias and chrysanthemums swayed in the breeze. Families laughed, children chased squirrels, and the air hummed with life. Among the crowd, Mia, a young tourist from halfway across the globe, adjusted her camera lens, her eyes sparkling with wonder. She dreamed of capturing this town's charm, its quaint beauty frozen in her photographs. Every click of her shutter felt like preserving a piece of magic. But not everyone saw magic in Mia's lens. Karen, a local in her late 40s, stood by the park's central fountain, her arms crossed and her lips pursed. To Karen, the park wasn't just a place, it was her place. She'd walked its paths for decades, knew every tree, every bench. Lately, she'd grown tired of tourists like Mia, who, in her mind, invaded her sanctuary with their cameras and chatter. Karen's patience, already threadbare, snapped when she saw Mia aiming her camera toward the fountain, where a group of children played. "Hey!" Karen's voice cut through the park like a blade. Heads turned. Mia froze, her finger hovering over the shutter. "You can't just take pictures of people's kids like that. Who do you think you are?" Mia lowered her camera, her cheeks flushing. "Tu wasn't photographing the kids. Just the fountain. I'm a tourist. I'm just tourist." Karen spat, stepping closer. Her eyes blazed, and her voice rose, drawing a small crowd. "You think you can come here, treat our town like your personal photo shoot? Those are our kids. You're invading their privacy." Mia's hands trembled, but she stood her ground. "I'm sorry if I upset you, but I'm not breaking any laws. It's a public park." Karen's face twisted. "Public? This is our community. You don't belong here." Her voice crescendoed, and she jabbed a finger toward Mia. "Put that camera away, or I'll make you regret it." The crowd murmured. Some nodded in agreement with Karen. Others whispered about her tone. Mia, her heart pounding, slipped her camera into her bag, not out of guilt but to de-escalate. She didn't want trouble. But Karen wasn't done. She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a menacing hiss. "You better leave before I call someone to deal with you." At that moment, a new figure emerged from the crowd, a man in his 60s, weathered but calm, with a park ranger badge glinting on his chest. His name was Tom, a fixture in the town, known for his quiet wisdom and love for the park. He'd been watching from a distance, his brow furrowed. "Karen," Tom said, his voice steady but firm. "That's enough." Karen spun toward him, her anger redirecting. "Tom, you're not seriously defending her? She's photographing kids." Tom raised a hand. "I heard the whole thing. Mia's right, she's not breaking any rules. You, on the other hand, are causing a scene. Again." The crowd shifted, whispers growing louder. Karen's face reddened further. But now it wasn't just anger, there was a flicker of embarrassment. "Again?" she snapped. "What's that supposed to mean?" Tom sighed, his eyes softening but resolute. "Karen, you've been warned before. Last month, you yelled at that family for picnicking too close to your bench. The month before, you scolded a jogger for breathing too loud. This park belongs to everyone, not just you." The twist landed like a stone in still water. Mia's eyes widened, and the crowd's murmurs turned to gasps. Karen wasn't just a protective local, she had a history. The park, her so-called sanctuary, was a stage for her control, her outbursts a pattern. Mia, still shaken, felt a pang of sympathy. What drove someone to this? Karen's bravado faltered. "I'm protecting our town," she muttered, but her voice lacked conviction. Tom shook his head. "You're threatening people, Karen. That's not protection. That's intimidation." He pulled out a notepad. "I'm writing you up. You'll get a fine for threatening behavior. Next time, it's a ban from the park." The crowd fell silent. Karen's hands dropped to her sides, her face a mix of shock and defiance. Mia, still clutching her bag, felt no triumph, only a hollow ache. She'd wanted to capture beauty, not spark conflict. As Tom walked away to file his report, Mia approached Karen, her voice soft. "I didn't mean to upset you. I just love this place." Karen's eyes met Mia's, and for a moment, something softened. But then she turned and stormed off, leaving a ripple of tension in her wake. The crowd dispersed, some shaking their heads, others whispering about justice served. Mia lingered, her camera untouched, the park's beauty now tinged with bitterness. Later, Mia learned more about Karen from a local vendor. Karen had once been a photographer herself, her work celebrated in the town's gallery. But after a personal tragedia loss, no one spoke of Clearlish stopped creating, stopped seeing beauty. The park became her refuge, but also her battleground, where she lashed out at anyone who reminded her of what she'd lost. Mia's heart sank. Karen's anger wasn't just about a camera, it was a cry from a wound that never healed. The fine arrived at Karen's doorstep days later. $200 for threatening behavior. She paid it silently, but the real cost was heavier. Whispers followed her in town, and the park, once her haven, felt like a place of exile. She stopped coming, her absence as stark as her outbursts had been. Mia, meanwhile, continued her journey, her photos now carrying a story she'd never forget, a clash of perspectives, a moment of humanity's fragility. The park returned to its rhythm, but the echo of that day lingered. Was Karen a villain, or a soul broken by grief? Was Mia an intruder, or a seeker of beauty? The truth lay in the gray, where justice and empathy collided. What do you think, was the fine fair, or did it deepen a wound already too raw? Share your thoughts on justice, community, and the cost of clashing perspectives.